How you living? Welcome to my channel. Hey, with all the stuff that's going on, basically for every weekend I can't watch football in peace. I'm going to do a video talking about race, politics, whatever. I may talk about other things, but every week I can't watch football in peace because of the National Anthem protest or whatever. To young people, the 8-year-olds and the parents of the 8-year-olds who are feeling compelled to take a knee during the playing of the Star Spangled Banner.
And now performing our national anthem, 9-year-old Ms. Courtney Coco Jones.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we held at the twilight's red?
You know what? I've been thinking. Our society is supposed to implode on itself and destroy itself from the inside out for what? Racism, you say. Racism. Did you know that in the original Declaration of Independence, we're taught that the dominant reason was, taxation without representation. That was the thing that kicked us over and said, well, we don't want to be part of the British colonies. Actually, if you read the original, they didn't want slavery. That was mentioned twice as often as taxation without representation. So Richard Allen went with Cheswell, who, when Paul Revere went one way, went with Cheswell, who was black, went the other way, talking about the British were coming. He became a federal judge. He was black. Richard Allen, Salem Poor, sharpshooter, shot a British lieutenant colonel. There were in fact 5 black men who became congressmen in the 1800s. They went from, this was at a time when it was a federal crime for blacks and women to read. Not only did they teach themselves to read, but they say that when you read their documents, you better have a dictionary standing by because you won't understand the language. It's so over people's heads. All black refuse to want anyone to feel sorry for them, or they refuse to have, well, we're black, so let's have a lower standard because we can't help ourselves. Look where we come from. We're almost giving ourselves permission to believe that we're worse off than someone in Frederick Douglass' time. That's what we're saying to the world, and proud of is we know how it really is. When I was on board USS Nimitz, I couldn't come home. My family was in St. Louis, Missouri, downtown, staying with the mother-in-law and all that. Well, my daughter, who's now grown and married, had she sat up in the middle of the night, she'd be dead with a bullet wound. She would have been shot. And that's so common and so normal. And that was 15 years ago. That was so normal that when the cops came, they actually laughed and asked my wife, who did y'all piss off? And there was nobody was offended. And because that was expected. So when they go get the guy that did the shooting, chances are he's not going to be Asian, he's not going to be Hispanic, he's not going to be white, he's going to be black. And everyone keeps trying to make this a racial thing. That if you voted for Trump, then you're a racist, and if you're black, you're a Tom. And look, we as a people voted, blacks and whites, Hispanics, Asian men and women voted for Obama, probably feeling like, well, this was right a wrong in black history. And it wasn't black people who voted for Obama. Blacks and whites, Hispanics, Asians, men and women all had to do that for him to get in office. Same thing with Trump. And no one's going to go into the places in the hood and deal and teach life skills or deal with the situation that led up to, then you really can't say this is a problem for white people to fix, or this is a problem to draw attention. Why don't you stand and show and say it's because we live in a free country that I'm going to stand, hold up the flag, and then justify, use my influence, use my millions of dollars, and go to the hood and teach young black youths to do what you did, to reach for their best, to do what you did. Because if we can't do that as a race, if we have to say, if we have the balls, whatever you want to call it, to say Emmett Till and Mike Brown is the same thing, there's no difference. And we can't see what led up to the stopping, then we're giving ourselves permission to be inferior and expect the world to have pity on us. If we don't have the pride in ourselves as a people to say, no matter my circumstance, no matter whether I'm rich or poor, no matter what color I am, I'm going to get this done and I'm going to do my best. We can't say that as a people. We're not teaching our young people that. We're already done. And you can preach to me about communism, socialism. You can preach to me that we need a world where everyone gets a house, everyone gets food, everyone gets health care, everyone gets assigned a job. If we don't have those basics, we won't be no better off.
We must not be guilty of wrongful deeds. Let us not seek to satisfy our thirst for freedom by drinking from the cup of bitterness and hatred.